I don't see the city anymore.
Each breath you take is mine.
There's only dark corners.
I'll keep you safe, Karen. I have to be the man this city needs.
What are you gonna do?
Whatever it takes.
I mean, you know what? There's a funny. I remember when I was about 8 or 9. I figured out that if I had sweaty palms and feet when I was at home I lived in an apartment, so we didn't have any outdoor space, you know. And if I had sweaty palms, I could push against the door frame of my bedroom and climb up the top. And I remember thinking, you know, I might be Spider-Man. I'm not sure. And so that was really the only kind of like, you know, superhero fantasy that I had. But I remembered it when I got the job. I had an audition, but I didn't, you know, I have many auditions and most of them go nowhere, so I didn't really think much about it. But I read a Wikipedia page about Daredevil. I didn't know anything about Daredevil. I'd never read a Daredevil comic, and so I read about him. And then, you know, I did the audition, and then I found out that they were interested to Skype with me, and I had a Skype conversation with Jeff Loeb, the head of Marvel Television, and then I was allowed to read the scripts at that point before I had various screen tests, etc. And it was when I read the scripts that I became very, very excited. I walked out of that room and I emailed my representation and just said, these are two of the best scripts I've read, regardless of them being, you know, have a superhero element or not. They're very, very sophisticated. Well, it's done in the it's done in the writing. You know, it's so clear you know, as the scripts were coming through that we're really, you know, treading that fine line of moral ambiguity and you know, the grey area around good and evil and right and wrong and all those things. It's a constant theme throughout the series, and I really enjoyed that. I feel like it makes the characters more human and more relatable, and also what an interesting take to have, you know, a superhero who you at times you're not sure you agree with, or you think is doing the right thing, or is behaving appropriately, or is working towards the greater good, or is it just self-interest, you know? And I just thought that was such an interesting dynamic to explore. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah. I mean, as soon as we started filming. And I was aware, and I became acutely aware immediately that the execution of this show was true to what they described to me and was true to the scripts, which isn't always the case. I was so impressed with how steadfast they were in terms of making the show that they'd wanted to make, which is ballsy. It was it's a very bold move because it's unlike anything Marvel had done before, and it is, in a way, it's alienating a core audience because it's not really appropriate for young children, and so that's a risk for any company. But they were, as I said, they really wanted to go down that route, and we trod that path all the way, and I had such a good time doing it. I found it was so interesting, such an interesting character, and the other cast and the crew were just excellent. And so I remember very quickly, you know, asking the question: could there, you know, is it even on the cards to do a second season? Because they've got these other shows lined up. So you know, they said, yeah, there's no reason why we couldn't do a second season. So I was thrilled when we found out yesterday. I don't know. They haven't had any conversations with me about storyline for next season. What I'm excited about is obviously the first season. It really deals with the evolution of Matt Murdock into Daredevil, and so I think it's going to be really fun to see him really embody that persona in a deeper level, and you know, explore him, get to explore Hell's Kitchen as Daredevil rather than a masked vigilante. You know, I don't know how tonally similar the other shows will be to Daredevil. I don't know. I'm not sure if they're all being. Obviously they're all being overseen by Marvel, but there are different showrunners for each show. So there's likely to be, you know, thematically and tonally differences. So the Defenders equally will have its own kind of feel, and that will depend on who they get to showrun that. of which I don't know. So.
This darkness is the light.
I'm just trying to make my city a better place.